Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike, and I have another review for you. This is going to be Superman versus Lobo. It is a black label in the Prestige magazine format. This is issue number 1. It's written by Tim Seeley and Sarah Beattie, and then it's artist Mirka Andolfo, colors Arif Prianto, and then letters is Fabio, Amelia. I'm sorry if I mispronounced any of those names. It's never any disrespect. Um, I passed on this book honestly, and not because I didn't want to read it. I am a big Lobo fan. I like Soup, but it just depends on who he's up against. Is when I get into Superman. But there's nothing against him. It's just I've never been. I'm always been the Batman side of things. Um, but I did pass on this book originally, but it was really due to just the price tag. It's a prestige format book, and I think it's sold at like $8 normally. And I was buying books at this time, and I didn't have it within my means. But luckily, through the capability of reading it digitally, I now have the opportunity to read it, and I was so glad because for one, I didn't know Mirka Andolfo did the art on this book. I think she had made a post the other day drawing Lobo, and I was like, what? So I definitely had to check it out, and sure enough, it was on the DC Universe app, so I was like, heck yeah. Um, so, in a nutshell, the story's pretty simple. It sets up, and it's like Lobo on vacation, and then all of a sudden his vacation. Oh, and before I get into it, I'm going to try something different when I get to the end of this review. I'm actually going to get close with my phone and kind of show off, just kind of scroll through some of the art just to give you a taste. Um, so if you're interested in looking at some of the art, that will be at the end, and I'll kind of start doing that normally. So when I do the digital reviews, so at least you can get a taste of the art. Because I do in my normal reviews, I do like showing you the art, but without having the book, it's limiting. And we'll see how this goes. Okay, so Lobo's on vacation. All of a sudden, like a kind of like this huge, planet-sized being shows up, and his name is Noman, I think it is, or Newman. It's spelled Numen, Newman. But it's basically like this, it starts off and he's like, we're actually hearing like Newman's thoughts and like how he came into existence or whatever, and then they just show Lobo on vacation. They show like the Newman creature, above the planet and stuff, and Lobo, he's getting aggravated because like his drink is getting messed up because like rocks and stuff are, buildings are collapsing, and it looks very apocalyptic, and Lobo's kind of in his own thing where he doesn't even realize stuff is going on. People are dying around him because he is at a resort, and he is kind of complaining, blaming the resort for the disaster that's going on, even though they have nothing to do with it. Um, it does, like eventually they show like where like Lobo is like he's grabbing like attendants, and most of them die before he can get to them because stuff is falling from the sky and stuff like that. But he does end up grabbing one, and finally he realizes because one of the rocks from the sky like falls on the guy, but ends up taking his arm with him. Um, but he has regenerative capabilities, so he starts regenerating, and then he looks in the sky and he sees the Newman. The book kind of cuts over and it jumps over to like Clark, Lois Lane, and Jimmy working at the Daily Planet, and they're really discussing, like when it boils down to it, they're talking about this new app that Lex Luthor has launched. It's called like Lexier, and it also has like a Lex tube. um, but they're basically like the way Lex Luthor has set it up, where it's kind of like, it's like a Facebook or Instagram type thing, or not to compare it to, but it is an app and it's a social app, and basically like Lex Luthor has a setup where it's kind of like bashing Superman, and it's like this conversation between like the editor and like Perry and Lane, where they want Clark to focus in on the Lex Luthor side of bashing Superman. Currently, there's like an incident where the toy maker ended up kidnapping a lot of younger children, and was caught and now is facing trial. And Clark Kent and Superman is more interested in making sure that the toy maker goes to jail for kidnapping those children. And he believes it's a bigger pressing issue than worrying about a social media app stating that Superman can take some dislikes type of thing. The book jumps back over to, Lobo at the resort and dealing with Newman, and basically Lobo has it's like his normal Lobo self, but he basically just, from the ground jumps into the sky and starts attacking Newman. He does get like one kind of like massive punch into this eye looking thing, because really it's just a mass of like weird stuff, but it does have like a couple gigantic eyes. But he does end up he punches it, and it doesn't show that it does anything. But basically, like during this time of Lobo trying to attack Newman, someone reaches out to Superman and tells him that there is like more pressing issues. I think it's Martian Manhunter, and he explains that Lobo is the cause of some catalytic event going on, and they need his help and stuff. So Superman, like, he does do this, like, where he uses a portal. He doesn't fly there because it's supposed to be like planets away or something like that. But he does catch a portal, and then he ends up like, Supermaning it to where Lobo is. And as soon as Superman shows up, he instantly goes after Lobo, just believing in what he was told about Lobo causing like the whole ruckus and everything. And it's not really the case. Like, Lobo was just really trying to stop the Newman guy. But when in all Superman's defense, when Superman does show up, Lobo has grabbed like this huge Ferris wheel that is attached to this casino. It does have people on it. Well, they're aliens, but it does have people on the Ferris wheel, and he is attempting to throw the Ferris wheel, and it's supposed to be the galaxy's largest Ferris wheel, so it has a ton of people on it. But he's attempting to throw that at Newman regardless of the casualties that might incur. He's just kind of pissed at this Newman thing. So Superman does show up in the nick of time to save those people on the Ferris wheel. And like when he does, he just goes over to Lobo, and he instantly he just says Lobo, and then like looks at him for like a brief second, and then like blasts the heck out of Lobo with his laser eyes. And of course, Lobo being regenerative, they jump like maybe seconds after Lobo was hit by the blast, and they already show him recovering. Basically, like Superman hit him in the midsection, and it looks, in the beginning it looks like it's all gone, and then he starts building back up with his regenerative ability. While this has been going on, there is like a thing or a person or an entity. We don't really know what she is. It's a female. But as far as she states, she's kind of like, for one, she's kind of like a hologram. But she's not a hologram. She's more like, because her role is she is a scientist, and she's supposed to be studying the last of a species, and she shows up originally following Lobo because he's the last of the Shizans, or I don't know how to pronounce. I always forget how the Shizarans. But he's the last of his race, and then Superman shows up, and she gets all excited because, hey, it's the last of the Kryptonians type of thing, which he's really not, because they got Supergirl and they got a couple others, but hey, last of the Kryptonians, right? So she's basically like in the background while all this is going on, and she is basically studying, Clark and Lobo as this is going on. After Superman blasts Lobo, he doesn't stick around, and he goes back to her to deal with the problems. And when he gets back, they tell him that Lois informs Clark that on the Lexatube app and the Lexar app that people have been spouting up mad at Superman, claiming that these are coming from like people that he saved, and they're doing this hashtag Superman I didn't need your help type of thing. And basically it's like people that are claiming to not have wanted to be saved by Superman. Like one lady cites like, oh, he didn't ask about my fear of heights before saving me, so I'm going to sue Superman type thing. So this starts this whole thing on Earth. And they jump back over to Lobo's side, and we do find out that it's just Lobo, that he explains that he's craftier than most people take him for, that it's part of his plan to just kind of piss off Superman, but he basically like on the resort they had all these like kind of robots that worked as like pleasure droids, like sex robots, and basically he reprograms them as Earthlings to just complain about Superman, and he sends them back to Earth through that same portal that Superman used. And while he's sending the robots, he sends like a massive amount of them, and eventually, like I think he goes to the teleport himself, and he ends up on Earth. Um, After like a little bit, the world, like these these robots. I don't want to say that. I was going to use another term, but it's derogatory, so I'm not going to use that term. But the robots that are designed to attack Superman, they start sprouting up all over the world and stuff like that, and it starts taking like news credibility and stuff like that, where there's a lot of them that are speaking out, especially because they're on the Lex app, and the Lex app is just like soaking it up and using it in that way. So eventually, like it does come to Superman's attention, and he figures out that somebody's behind it, and then like as soon as they tell him that he believes somebody's behind it, on like a backup like Lexa 2 app or something like that, Lois Lane gets a video from like Lobo pretending to be a fake Superman, like he's actually dressed up. He has a Superman mask on, and he's just like making Superman look like a bad guy kind of thing. And while this is happening, Superman's like, oh, he's on Earth, let me go get him. And like seconds later, he finds Lobo. When he gets there, he instantly tries to start attacking Lobo, and Lobo is like, hey, before you do all that, say hi to your fans. And he has his whole, it's like a little, like it actually looks like a YouTube studio. He has ring lights and cameras. It's kind of funny. But he's actually broadcasting live, and he's streaming, and he's asking Superman all these questions. Well, why don't you answer this? Why don't you answer this? Kind of thing. And he's making Superman look even more like a bad guy. And eventually, just Superman stands his ground. He's like, look, y'all can say whatever and believe whatever you want to. And he was like, I always show y'all the truth. He was like, I'm here for the good of people. So, in the end of the day, you can believe what you want, but what I show is a different story, kind of thing. And eventually, like, him and Lobo do end up kind of sparring for a second. And as that goes on, something goes on in the background where, like, previously with the toy maker and his his court date and everything, because he finally does go to court and Superman is there to make sure that everything goes down. There is a small little incident where Arcade does release these little like nanotechnology like arcade things in the atmosphere, and it does cause a small problem for like a moment in the comic book. But it's really just set up for this part at the end, because Superman does fix that situation with the toy maker, and eventually the toy maker gets sent to jail. Okay, so then this part, the robots that Lobo had programmed to, basically attack Superman and blah blah blah, not physically attack him, just verbally attack him and stuff. But basically, they start mixing with that toy maker nanobot stuff, and somehow they just turn into these rage robots where they just start attacking everything in the world. And since Lobo had kind of sent those droids out all over the world, now they're popping up all over the world attacking random people and just spouting nonsense. Where they are at the studio, Lobo's studio, like there's a bunch of them there, so it's this massive fight between Lobo and Superman, destroying all them. And they do show like other Justice League members and stuff destroying the robots in the end. And eventually, as kind of near the end, as Superman and Lobo are destroying the ones that are around them, all of a sudden, like all around the world, those robots kind of just disappear. And they kind of are stunned for a second. They don't understand what happened, because they just kind of like magically disappear, like bloop, and then they're gone. And Lobo and Superman are kind of standing there looking at each other, and all of a sudden they hear a voice, and they're like, hey, it was me, I did it. And he was like, I did it because I wanted to thank you. And like they're looking around, they don't see anything. Superman knows he sees something, but he can't find him. And then the voice finally states, oh, I'm sorry, let me recalculate how I look or whatever. And he says, I'll increase my like my appearance by like 1,000 times or something like that, and then he grows into like something that's about this. And what it is it's Newman, and it's the same shape and form he was when he was the gigantic sized planet or whatever, but now and he tells Lobo and Superman the story, and he actually thanks Lobo because when Newman was coming into his being and everything, he says he has like a cajillion dimensions that were within him, and he was like going through this process of shedding them and releasing them into the known, like, the multiverse or quintessence or whatever you want to call it, but just releasing new universes and dimensions and that kind of thing. And he needed help, and basically with Lobo acting in his forceful nature and punching him and stuff, it helped him shed all those dimensions or whatever. And so Newman wanted to find Lobo and thank him, and basically he gets rid of all those, like, the angry bots that he'd sent out into the world, like fixing his problem. And then eventually he says he wants to thank Superman and Lobo, and as he states it, he's like, yeah, Superman the last Shazar, and then Lobo the last Kryptonian. He was like, I wanted to thank you, and what I did is, like, he's like, I brought your planets back into existence. Everything that was there, all the people, all the cities, all the animals, everything is exactly the way it is, and I sent y'all back. And all of a sudden, bloop, they disappear, and I guess they're going back to their respective planets. But the girl hologram that's been following around in the background the whole time, she kind of asked that thing a question, Newman, before he leaves, and she's like, did you say Superman of Shazar and Lobo of Krypton? And that's where the book leaves off, basically stating that the Newman guy, obviously got their planets wrong. So it looks like we're going to see this Lobo on Krypton and Superman on Shazar. But that's where the issue leaves off. My thoughts, it was a great read. It's very quick. It's just a fun read. Like, it's the poke at like social media kind of, and then it's it's just a good Superman and Lobo romp. And Lobo, man, he's the star of the show in this book for sure. They do focus a lot on Superman, which isn't bad either, but Lobo is definitely the star of the show. Is the comedy that he brings always. Come on, man, he's the main man. Now, my girl, Mirka Andolfo, of course, she kills it. She draws through the whole book, and I love it. She has jokey panels where you can totally get the comedy feel of it. She has very serious in the action scenes. But while we're at the end of this review, let me go ahead and show you some. And I'll just, I'm just gonna kind of, I don't know how the camera's gonna pick all this up, but this is just some of the art. I want to say this one panel where she draws Lois Lane, like, I think it's that one right there. Kind of flash forward to because that was kind of the beginning. Yeah, and Batman shows up for a second. But hey guys, that's my review. Let me know how the picture thing works out in the end, if y'all like that versus just my verbal reviews. But all that good stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.